So, how can we help you, Stuart?
Well, I essentially kind of, believe that on atheism, that there is no ultimate, meaning of life. You discuss this, as I would guess, later in the, program. But, so, do you, create, a meaning? Like, do you sort of create, like, some sort of personal meaning?
On an individual basis, but you're asking us individually whether we create our own.
I mean, like, there is no, like, objective meaning of life, but you're saying that you have your own purpose.
Yeah, the Xavier. Sorry, Thunder.
Right, yeah. I would say first and foremost, atheism is not a philosophy. It only states one thing, and that's that you reject that the case for gods has been made. In that sense, why would you say that atheism doesn't give you a meaningful life? I mean, it says nothing about it, neither does Newtonian mechanics, right? But
well, the reason why I say that is because do you have any sort of basis for saying that there is an ultimate meaning of life?
Well, I can make observations about how the universe functions, and you can extrapolate which behaviors are likely to propagate better within that. I mean, this goes back to the two people marooned on two separate desert islands. One of them sort of says, do you think there's any water on this island? And goes and looks for it, and the other one says, well, what's the point? I'm going to die anyway. One of those will survive longer than the other one. So there are behaviors that will propagate better. And you could say that's the nearest that you're going to get to an objective meaning for life, is the behaviors that actually propagate better. And otherwise you can just go for the very simplistic stuff about, just because you're going to arrive somewhere at some point, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the journey of getting there. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Sorry, go on.
Well, so you are agreeing you can't find any, that you don't have an objective meaning of life?
Well, I would say
if you're asking someone whether they subjectively have an objective meaning of life, then that's a meaningless question. If you're asking whether Thunderbot has his own subjective meaning of life, that's a different question. Which is it?
I mean, like, to you, Thunderbird, is there an objective meaning of life? And if so, what is it? Like, do you see any reason on any sort of philosophical or scientific thought that there is an objective meaning of life?
Can I answer that?
Yeah,
yes, please.
All right. When I was a kid in the Griffith Park Observatory, and I remember somebody first brought the notion to me that the universe was going to come to an end, or in some smaller scale, that billions of years from now that our sun was going to nova and destroy this world. I remember thinking, what great sadness, and how pointless. So yes, I think I could say that we have an objective meaning for life if we assert it in these terms.
Well, that was kind of amazing. When was that told? Like when you were a kid? Well, yeah, I wouldn't really tell stuff like that to kids because they usually get frightened of it. But I think
welcome to reality.
Saying that sacrificing it. To me, I in a sense that if I was an atheist, I wouldn't see also the thing for objective moral values actually existing. Everything has got the exact set is of equal moral value, and to me, sort of, as hold on, where's the quote? As Dostoevsky wrote, if there is no immortality, then all things are permitted. And to me, that just kind of says that shouldn't you, in a sense, like live a much more selfish life instead of actually caring
If you're not,
Just pause there. I find this argument absolutely extraordinary. Are you suggesting, as many theists do when they argue against atheists, oh, well, in that case you should go out and do whatever you want to do? I'm sorry, is this really what you're advancing as an argument?
Well, I'm not obviously saying that, atheism is...
Let me clarify that.
Well,
if you were deprived of your belief in God, as DPR is suggesting, if I were somehow to come up with a compelling argument to convince you that there was no God, would you then violate all of your evolution as a social animal and go out and wreak havoc and destruction and wrongs and criminality against your own nature against other people?
That one would kind of be subject. Probably, I would have my own sort of moral psychology.
Exactly.
So, just out of interest, Vodka, are you a Christian?
Yep. I wouldn't consider myself a Christian. In fact, I would say that there is probably some sort of higher power who created us and gave us an objective meaning, objective moral value.
So, what is the objective meaning that you think that has been given?
And why doesn't everyone else share it? Why doesn't everyone think like you do? If everyone's been given the same...
Sure, yeah. I think does it consider this moral and this moral, or that's something I'm very agnostic about, and I have no clue about.
Well, what is the objective morality or guidance that you think that has been given to you by whatever it is that has given you this?
I think, in a sense, it's sort of it sort of reveals it to us through giving us this moral reasoning and intuition.
Where from? Let me ask you this, quite seriously. Do you think that your morals are better than God's?
No.
You don't?
Well, that's
what do you think about genocide and paedophilia, for example?
Genocide and paedophilia.
You think they're right or wrong?
I would probably consider that they are immoral.
Just probably?
No, they are immoral.
Okay.
Right. I find that in the Bible. So you do not get it from the Bible, and you don't get it from any other external source. I think because you believe it is true. You are morally superior to God.
Well, I believe it's a kind of... that's a bit of a, in a sense, like a red herring. I think we're...
It's not a red herring.
Yes,
no, it is not. Aaron, over to you.
Alright, as we've gone over so many times before, whenever somebody brings up that the Bible is a moral guide, I would like to show them, or I'd like them to show me one chapter in that if you were to follow that, would not have you in prison. I mean, there's just not any part of the Bible's outline of morality that is psychologically sound or deemed morally legal in any culture, except maybe in the most extreme and backward cases. I mean, when a child steals something, an 8-year-old child steals something, is it okay to maim that child for the rest of his life? Some cultures believe that, and they get this from their holy doctrine. It's not the same holy doctrine we have, although ironically it comes from the same God, supposedly a God who keeps changing his mind with every religious book. And every religious book has in it criminality that we are supposed to observe, even though it is the most abhorrent sort of behavior. And it's all based on this one crux that I mentioned before. The reason that the whole question about the meaning of life bothers me is that it's based on believing this. And that's the only course of judgment. And that's it. You are supposed to believe without evidence, and that's it. That's your meaning of life. Gullibility. And that's all.
Sophia.
Well, I actually found it kind of interesting because at the risk of being unpopular, we were kind of poking fun at the idea of pedophilia not being absolutely wrong. But me, that our society, it's based on our society. I mean, in Spartan society, pedophilia was totally normal. And it was considered perfectly fine. But I don't want to go, I'm not going to hammer the morality thing too much, so I'll just get out of there.
Thunder.
No, I don't have much to add on that, I'm afraid.
Stuart, so let's go back to you.
Well, obviously I don't follow the Bible, but from what I have heard from Christians, they do say, this you can maybe just, I don't want to go too much into this, but they have said that, like, he's not doing this because he's very hateful or spiteful. He's doing this because he warned them about their way of life, and they were punished for that.
I'm totally sorry. Who are you saying?
They.
What, you mean like certain thing?
You say they are doing this because, who are they?
Like, well, what do you mean, like, like, God committed genocide on maybe certain people because of their...
Let's start with the basic stuff. Are you a Christian?
I'm not a Christian, no.
Pause. I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand your point, sir. When you say they did this, who is the they that you're referring to?
And what did they do?
That's something that we haven't actually, like, established.
You're saying it. What do you mean by what you're saying?
Well, no.
Who they is?
Hold on.